So this is Google recording. Okay, you see, ADDS database stores information on user identity, computers, groups, services, and resources. So whenever you come to with Active Directory, so I'll start from there. Already we discussed, but again I'm telling. Yes, Active Directory word. This belongs to Microsoft. Meaning is Active Directory services not by any other organizations. Maybe they have a different type of LDAP kind of servers services are there, but Active Directory word used by Microsoft from server 2000 onwards. Which server it is? Windows Server onwards. We are using Active Directory infrastructure. Okay. So because of yesterday, some guy asked me this question, so that's a little confused mistake. Next, 2000 and 2003. So Active Directory name is Active Directory only. Okay. So okay, it is a Microsoft service from 2000 server onwards. Okay. So Active Directory is a directory service. Next, ADDS. What is ADDS? Active Directory Domain Services. Why it is? Again, it is domain services. We know Active Directory means it's a domain forest like that is there. Okay, but what is this Active Directory domain services? Because of at time of Windows Server 2008. Okay, as I remember, 2008 Active Directory domain services is introduced. So instead of Active Directory, because of Active Directory split into other services. Active Directory certification services, certification services, right management system, right management system, Active Directory federation services, Active Directory lightweight directory services. These are all introduced. So that's why the Active Directory component is like a become a five parts. One of the part is Active Directory domain services. Okay. Because databases and all things are there. So when this server related means user authentication, centralized authentication things is introduced, Microsoft Windows NT only. But that time no Active Directory. Okay, Windows Server NT server now AD concepts. Okay, there are a lot of concepts are there. What is Active Directory? The whole part is also there, but I'm not going that much. Okay, just to avoid a confusion, what is Active Directory? What is Active Directory domain services? Both are same guys. Only thing is different server editions or server versions. So we got call that one. You can go like this. ADDS. See, install Active Directory domain services on 2008 R2. Okay, like that. So installation method is little different there. Okay, now it is little different. What I will do, so try where when it is introduce. So this is the difference between Active Directory and Active Directory domain services. So you will find so many things. We'll see that one later. Okay, so what's our it is? So Active Directory, domain services, both are same. Okay, of course. So Active Directory further is implemented CS, RMS, FS, LDS, and DS. So like that. Okay, so that is first. Second one is actually what is this Active Directory? Normally, if you search what is Active Directory, then it will show it is like a Microsoft services. It's a directory service introduced in a 2000 Microsoft Server 2000 service available in a Microsoft Windows Server 2000. But what is this Active Directory? Of course, it's a directory service. It's a it's a directory service. Okay. So what it will do? It maintain a database, Active Directory database. It maintain an Active Directory database. It stores. We copied something, right? So we'll try paste. Not that one. So in this one, these two statements are important. What is these two statements? Active Directory database stores information on user identity, computers, groups, services, and resources. Or identity of users, groups, computers, and others. ADDS domain controller also hosts services that authenticates user and computer accounts when they log on to domain. By a search in a Google because ADDS is introduced in 2008 or 2012. That's why I have huge touch with the 2012, not 2008. Okay, means I used 2008 so many years back. Okay, so then how can it is do authentication? So that is also it will shows. You can see because ADDS stores information about all the objects in domain and all user computer must connected to ADDS domain controller when signing into the network. So ADDS is a primary means by which you can configure and manage user and computer accounts on your computer. Okay. So we have a computer information, user information stored in Active Directory database. So whenever the domain computer in a domain computer, any domain user is login, automatically Active Directory can and will take it and authenticate it. So that is the point of here. Already we discussed with the drawing and all kind of stuff, so I'm not doing that. There is a physical components are there. Okay, there is a physical components are there. So compulsory go for a physical component. So, so Active Directory database is stored in a single file on each domain controller kind of stuff. Yeah, here it is. Active Directory database. Already I told this one. So name of the database is NTDS.DIT. DIT. So new technology, directory service, directory information tree. Okay, already you know that one. Directory information tree. Let's just try to understand one thing. We tell certain points. Generally, people don't remember small things like what is NTDS, what is the database. Suddenly, we ask, people don't remember. Why? Because of we rarely see that one. So only server classes we may have one time maximum in theory, not repeatedly. So obviously, a lot of people forget that one. If in case you are in an academies college, you are going to college and you have studied, tomorrow is an examination, we open the book, we'll take all the statements based on the previous questions, so we will try to remember and write an exam, later we'll remove it from the mind, right? But here it is not like that. You can get any question from any corner. Not only about interview, guys, it is the importance is the server is still there in market, whether it is 2000, 2003, now 2019, and 22 is also released. Meaning is still active directory is there. If once you are in an organization, these words are very important to understand. Second one is small points. Don't ignore it. Okay. So compulsory repeat it. You know what? Why we forget that is a point is I want to tell. Why we forget means we listen once and we leave it. Certain practicals I try to ask you to do, tell me how will do it, I'll show you once, and you tell me I will do it. Why? Because of it. So you will get more concentrate. Yes, I'm telling this point, so then you can usually memorize better than you just listen. Okay, you're listening 100 times, once or times 10 times, or one time or 10 times or 100 times, it is a lot of possibility of forgetting. If you are speaking or you are keep telling or you are keep repeating yourself, you can remember for a longer period of time. How can I remember without PPT? I told all these things, right? Now I'm using PPT to copy paste kind of stuff only. So how can I remember? Because I've taken a lot of classes, I read so many times, I practice, I try to memorize it. Last 3 years, means almost like we can say 3 years or 2 years, corona time, almost like a corona time. So I purchased Netflix, I have a Amazon Prime. So obviously no technology improvement, of course one only small improvement is there, but maximum no improvement it is. So that's a domination it is getting. Okay, so our Netflixes, our Instagrams, friends, these are all people are there every time, people are there, friends are there, family is there, functions are there. So point is, what I'm trying to say is, whenever we want to do something, we want to do something useful means to get into the some job, be standard there, grown up, later remaining everybody will be there. So all friends and everybody there. So if you are succeeded, everybody, if there are well wishes, definitely they will appreciate. If you are not succeeded, then obviously they are feel sad, right? Others are don't mind about you, so you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. You are just a youngers. Okay, so age is very less than 25 years, not even a 25 years also, as you know, as per your pass out years and all, right? 23 maximum. So my point is, this stage is easy to learn, easy to remember. No other problems are there also, so you can able to grow fast. So guys, that's what I'm trying to say. Take each point, repeat yourself. Second one is how to make it very easy possible. You're all in a group, either through group or maybe through separate unofficial group. You can create yourself. You can easily create meetings freely, not required any kind of ID kind of stuff. Only you, we're all having a Gmail accounts. Okay. Okay. So very simple. You can open a Google Meet account. Simple. Go to this meetings.google.com, new meeting. So when you click on new meeting, a meeting code will be generated. Copy the meeting, share to everyone, share the link to everyone. So simply we are all using Android mobile phones maximum. Google accounts are there, right? So obviously we can easily join. So daily or 1 or 2 days. So like a weekly through 2 3 days. Start discuss what are the classes are going on, how to do it, what is this, what is that, or you can ask questions to others. You know, I given questions to you, but how many questions I given, either it is 10 or 100 questions, you can't remember. Means you studied you take a question, you will write an answer, and we prepare well and try to give an answer. My point is very simple. It is take the question, ask the question to others, let them answer, and you can also take one or another question type. So the fear of interview, nervousness, the speed of answer delivery will be improved. Speed does not mean like this. So what is NTDS? So new technology directory service directory information tree. That is not a speed. So clear cut, so others can able to correct it. So we are in Indians, guys. So important things in Indian is whether what how many mistakes we do it, we'll try to find a mistakes in others, right? What are the mistakes? How many hundred mistakes I do it? How many spelling mistakes I do it? But if someone is doing a spelling mistake, I feel funny and I will tell this is a mistake, right? So that is what is an advantage of us. Try to test with your friends, like in your group. So tell us some answer. So let them ask question. Tell some answer. If there is a mistake, mistake does not mean comparison, like a listening mistake. When I tell some statement, uh, okay, point is when I given a some statement like this, it's a textbook statement, right? So I given a textbook statement. It may not be convey the answer also. Other person don't feel that is an answer. Okay, if, without looking at the answer, they cannot convey. So that so they can say tell me otherwise. So you can tell in the easiest form without hesitation, without lagging, without over speed. You can try to practice it. So that's the easiest part to get a selected in a interviews. I'm not telling just a theory part, guys. I have make done with my lot of students from almost like a 18 batch, 19 batches, 2018 batches, 2019 batches, 20 batches, 21 batches. I told this formula. A lot of people benefited. Now it is online, so I can't. I don't know whether how people are doing it. Some batches are done actually. Some are not. Some are in the batch. There are good, so they already selected. Some are unable to do it. The point is, so when we are in offline classes that time, so we force us like, so start asking questions, tell some answer. So based on that, their self, they improved a lot better the performance in interview. Not just learning, just also performing in interview is based on not only interview questions, guys. By practice you can able to tell. Okay, so that's right, I'm trying to say point here. Okay, so because of when we ask small questions, what is the port number of something, what is the definition of this one, so people say, sir, I don't have an idea. So what they don't have an idea, or they've said forget. So why they are forgetting once they learn? So how you can able to forget? Only thing is no repetition learning. Okay, not even checking the test books or notebooks or videos, whatever it is. Okay, And confusion will start like one statement to another statement. Understanding is first important. Next one is framing. Sentences are very important. Okay, so that is make you get into the interview. Not only that one, once you are joining, there is a project manager interviews also there. That is, we don't know now what questions they will ask. They may ask in one subject or they may ask in multiple subjects. So again, project manager will ask a question. Once you are working, there are a lot of terminologies will be raised. So you should not get confused with that one. So you are, if you are in the track, you can easily understand, we can able to do it. If you are out of track, so try to be in a track. I'm not saying it is very difficult, or I'm not saying it is impossible. If you are out of track, try to be in the track. So that's the point I'm trying here. Okay. Active Directory database name is NTDS.DIT. What is authentication protocol? We use it. BROS. Kerberos. Port number is 88. LDAP 389. So these are the two major protocols we use it. Mainly Kerberos authentication protocol we use for a user authentication. Okay. Guys, whenever it is comes, authentication and authorization. Authentication and authorization. Authentication means user authentication. User is username, password is correct or not. That is called a authentication. Verify identity, verification of identity, authentication. Authorization is a person is allowed, allowed or not. I have a printer. User want to access. So as per the list, user is allowed to access printer or not. That is called a authorization. Authentication and authorization. In here it is telling ADDS information stored in single file on each domain controller's hard disk. So what are the data in the Active Directory stores in single file? Which file it is? NTDS.DIT. The following list of some of the components where data is stored. So that is called a physical components. So mainly physical components are domain controller. What is domain controller? Is nothing but a server. Your server with installed ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services, installed and promoted as a domain controller. Okay, it contains a copy of your Active Directory database. Data stores. So where you store the data, the file. So on each domain controller that stores Active Directory database information. Data store means where you store disk or like that. It is also a physical component. Global catalog. It is also a server. It is also a server host global catalog server which partially read-only copy of all objects in the forest. Global catalog speed up search for object that might be stored in domain controller in a different domains in the forest. Okay, so I will explain what is a global catalog. Okay, so in one single forest you have a multiple domains. In single forest you have a multiple domains. So in the domain controllers in the forest, some domain controllers are global catalog server. By default, root domain controller, root domain controller is global catalog is global catalog server. Okay, so that's why when you are installing domain controller, the check mark is there, no, global catalog check mark, we can't able to uncheck it. I told, no, so that is global catalog server. So what is the global catalog server will do? It stores partial and read-only copy of all objects in the forest. Meaning is different domains having a different users, computers, groups, like that is there now. So that partial attributes will stores in the global catalog server. So it is easy to search for a inter domain communication. I will show you in the diagram wise. Okay. The special installation of ADDS is read-only form. Okay, it is a read-only domain controller. So already I told DC is a primary domain controller. It's a primary domain controller. ADC called a, additional domain controller is for a backup domain controller. Okay. DC means domain controller. It is nothing but a primary domain controller. ADC, additional domain controller, is nothing but a backup domain controller. PDC, BDC concept. In earlier NT 2000, 2003, we have this concept. Okay. 2008 onwards, we have DC, ADC. Okay. Windows Server 2008, we have a DC, ADC, or ODC also introduced. Windows Server NT 2000, 2003 servers. We have a PDC, BDC concept. Primary domain controller, backup domain controller. So that is the thing. Next, what is this RODC? Again, read-only domain controller. Is read-only domain controller. The special installation of ADDS in a read-only form. Meaning is you are in a branch office. You are in a branch office. Okay, in a branch offices, the security and IT support is less, right? So less and advanced than the main organizations. So there we can use RODCs. Read-only domain controller means normal domain controller. We can add an accounts, we can add a computers, we can add a groups. But read-only domain controller is just a copy of data, but no, we cannot able to add a users. And there is other benefits also there. Like it will only authenticate branch office users only, not every user in the entire domain network. Only in that branch offices, what are the users are there, their information only authenticate. So these are the some of physical components. Domain controllers, Active Directory, domain controllers, DC, primary DC, ADC kind of stuff. These are all domain controllers only. Other names of domain controllers. So domain controller is a server. Okay, it contains your Active Directory database. Your domain controller authenticate users when they log into domain. Okay, it works with that service. Yes. DC means earlier name is PDC, primary domain controller. Okay. ADC is like a backup domain controller. ADC means additional domain controller. So DC, ADC, RODCs are introduced in server 2003, and PDC, BDC concept we use in older versions. Still, we can use that words for understanding of the server related one. So, next one is logical components. But before going to logical components, do you understand or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. Guys, these are the logical components. Not only this, these are also some of the logical components. We'll see those things also. So what is a logical component? So when it is comes to the logical component, meaning is like a domain is a logical component. So best example of the logical component is domain, a logical administrative boundary of users and computers. As my old diagram, okay, as per my diagram, so then I have 100 computers. Out of 100, only 50 computers in the domain, but 100 in the network. Physically, 100 computers are there, but logically, only 50 computers are in a domain. So that is like a logical administrative boundary, logical addressing, physical addressing, logical boundary. Okay, so like that. So same thing goes for your partition. Partitions here, it is not belongs to um, your hard disk. So 1 second, guys. Okay, so partitions are belongs to Active Directory partitions. You have an Active Directory database. NTDS.DIT is divided into four partitions. Okay, so your Active Directory database NTDS.DIT is divided into four partitions. Okay, mainly three partitions are important. Last partition is optional. 1 second, I will close that window. Too much noise. The first partition name is, okay, schema partition. Next is configuration partition, domain partition, and application partition. This is optional, means depends upon your server installations with certain applications. So then only uh, it is partition is there. That is importance will be there. These are the main three partitions: schema partitions, configuration partition, domain partition. Okay, here it is. So we'll see schema and configuration partition common for a entire domain. Partitions data same in entire forest. Same in entire forest. Entire forest means in the forest we have a lot of domains, domain controllers, kind of stuff. Okay, so domain partitions different from one domain to another domain. Okay, domain partition data is different from one domain to other domain. So that is one global catalog diagram is there we can easily actually we can easily understand. Okay, this is entire forest, guys. This is a entire forest. I have a root domain controller is there. This is also a domain. Okay, I have a root domain is there. So domain is there means there is a domain controller. Like that, I have a multiple domains in the forest, guys. There is a statement is like this. In a one statement, they are saying like this: forest is a collection of domains. Forest is a collection of domains, right? This is a domain, this is a domain, this is a domain. The statement is correct. First. Second, another statement: forest is a collection of domain trees. So meaning is forest is forest contains the domains. First one is root domain. After that one, we are adding a multiple domains in the forest. Those are nothing but a tree domains. Those are nothing but a tree domains, right? This is the tree domain. This is the tree domain. This is called a root domain. This is root domain. So that's why that statement is also correct. Okay. The forest is a collection of domains. Root domain is there. Tree domains are there. Child domains are there in the forest. Next, forest is a collection of tree domains. Domain trees. Sorry. Collection of domain trees. This is the domain tree. This is the domain tree. Multiple domain trees. You can have it. Right. So that is also statement is correct. Okay. Next, what is a domain tree? What is a domain tree? Is a collection of one or more domains. Collection of one or more domains. Under domain tree, you can have a child domains. Under domain tree, you can have a so domain tree itself a domain means one domain, and also if you have a child domain under this one, so obviously collection of one or more domains. Okay, so that's the statement, guys. Here it is. First of all, a domain tree is a collection of shared common root domain and domains. The domain, it's a collection of domains that share a common root domain and a domain. Okay, and also there is a statement for a forest. Forest is not given here. Yeah, here it is. One second, I will check it once. Yeah, correct. Domain namespace. Forest is a collection of domain and domains that share a common ADDS. But in a forest, for a forest, partitions I will tell because I have to few more things you want to complete it. It is forest is another statement is also there. Forest is a collection of one or more domain tree. A tree is a collection of one or more domains. Tree is a collection of one or more domains. Okay, understand, guys, what is a forest? We can say collection of domains because of in the forest we have a lot of domains. Okay, a forest is a collection of one or more domain trees. Of course, in the forest you have a not only your root domain, also other domains also there. Okay, so what are those? Nothing but a trees. Under trees, tree itself a domain, and under tree you can have a multiple domains. You can have a multiple domains. Okay, the statement, by statement, you it's the confusion is there, but if you look at the picture you will understand. The first domain is created in the forest is called a forest root domain. First domain. So without creating the first domain, you can't create the forest. Forest is simply say a enterprise. Forest we can simply say a enterprise. So enterprise, you want to start an enterprise. How to start? You have to start a company. You have to start a company. That's a forest is called as a enterprise level domain. Okay, this is a enterprise administrator. Administrator of the forest domain controller. Forest domain administrator is a powerful administrator. Is administrator of every domain. Okay, so forest, that is for, okay, is an enterprise administrator. Forest domain administrator is an enterprise administrator. Administrator for all domains in the forest. Administrator for all domains in the forest. Remember that point. The forest domain contains few object does not exist in another domains in the forest. So that way we can see the forest what it will maintain. Here is the point I said, like a administrator account is there, no default administrator is admin for entire forest domains. Entire forest domains is the administrator. Is the administrator. Administrator in root domain, forest root domain is admin for entire root domains, entire forest domains, entire forest. The forest contains domains, so better it is for entire forest. Okay, so about a forest, that is the statement, and you can see in this PPT also you can see. For example, a forest root domain contain two special domain controller controller roles, schema master and domain naming master. In additional, enterprise admin group and schema admin group exist only in the forest root domain. Okay, the enterprise group admin group full control over the domain within the forest. Of course, this point is also there. Okay, the previous point is also there. So this point I like this only. So if you are a member of the enterprise admins group, so you can full control over the forest. So look at this picture, guys. Adatum.com is a forest root domain. Under adatum.com, you have a fabricum.com. It is a tree root domain. So it is a tree. So this is the forest root domain. So forest is adatum.com. Forest is adatum.com. Under that one, you created a tree root domain. So that is called fabricum.com. Is a tree domain. Like that, I can create a multiple domains. And if you see this one, atl.adatum.com, which is nothing but a child domain. I created a child domain under adatum.com. Child domain carries a parent name. Tree domains don't carry the parent forest name, but it works with a forest. So that is the difference here. And also about a forest. Forest is a security boundary. Forest is a security boundary. What is a security boundary? Within the forest, you have a multiple domains. Okay. Within the domain, they replicate the data, configuration partition, and schema partitions. Active Directory is also replication boundary. Security boundary means only can able to log in, communicate within the forest only. Okay, so that is one more point I will add it. That is means I will do it. Also replication boundary for the configuration partition, schema partition in the Active Directory database. Okay, so in entire forest, the domains having a domain controllers, right? So those domain controllers contains Active Directory databases. Active Directory databases is divided into partitions, configuration, schema, and domain partitions. Each domain having a their own domain database stored in a domain partition. Domain partition. But configuration partition and schema partition same for all domains in the forest. Same for all domains in the forest. So that's why it is statement is came replication boundary for the configuration and schema partition. So they replicate the partitions like a configuration and schema. The two more statements are there. Replication boundary for a global catalog server. Active Directory is also replication boundary for a global catalog server. What is a global catalog server? Is also a server. It is nothing but a domain controller. But not all domain controllers are a global catalog servers. You have to specify this is a global catalog server. So which stores your configuration partition information, schema partition, and domain partition information from all the domains. Okay, here it is. One more line is there. By default, all domains in the forest automatically trust other domains in the forest. Okay, so no need to create any trust relationships. By default, all domains in the forest will trust each other. All domains in the forest will trust each other. It means user in this domain can able to log into another domain. Okay, user in this domain can able to log into other domain because of they trust each other automatically. So that's why it is called as a. I'll put like this: user in this domain can able to log into another domain. So how it is possible is easy. Okay, so how it is possible because of they trust each other because of they are in a same forest. So this is about your forest, guys. I completed forest is a collection of domain, or you can say collection of one or more domain trees. When you say domain tree is also a domain, is a collection of one or more domains. Under domain we have a child domains like that. The first domain you create in a forest is called a forest root domain. Without creating the first domain, you cannot create a forest. Okay, so once forest is created, the rest of the things are trees. Under trees you can create, under any domain you can create a child domain. Not only under trees, any domain, whether it is a child domain or a tree domain or a root domain, you can create a child domains. Okay, so this is about your forest. Guys, understand what is forest?
Yes, sir.
So again, domain is a logical administrative boundary of users and computers. Domain trees is a collection of domains which we create under root level domain controller, root domain. Of course, I have to tell a schema is also there. Once I told again, I will finish this one. Schema, configuration, domain, global catalog. There's a theory is there, a lot of theory. And trying to simplify things. Schema is a ADDS component that defines all object types and attributes ADDS used to store data. It sometimes referred as a blueprint of Active Directory. So understand what is a schema. Two statements are there. Defines the list of objects and attributes that all objects in the ADDS can have. Also, Active Directory, schema is also called as a blueprint of Active Directory. This is both are same statement only. These two statements are same. But what is these objects and attributes? Objects. We are creating a accounts. Are there no? So, for example, user is an object. When you create a user, if you remember that one, so otherwise I will have to open a server. Anyway, I have to open server. Okay. You create a user, so it shows new object. So it means user is an object. Group is an object. Computer is an object. OU is an object. You have a printer. Printer is an object. Printer is also an object. Service is an object, like that. So there is a objects are there. So user is an object. Group is an object. Computer is an object. OU is an object. Like that, several objects are there. These are all accounts. Objects. Attributes. What is attribute? It's a properties of object. For example, you're creating a user. That time I'm giving first name. I'm giving a first name, right? So first name, initials, second name, right? So login ID, SAM account name, or user principal name. So these are all things. Okay. Or group types. What is the different type of groups? What is a computer? What is OU name? These are all attributes only. Okay. For example, email ID. Okay. For example, email ID of a user. Okay. Location of user, group type or scope, group type, whatever it is, group scopes. Okay. User location, user address. Location means address, phone number, email IDs. Okay, these are all information of about a particular account. Computer, operating system, version, what operating system is installed, what version it is. Okay, like that. OU, what is the OU name? These are all attributes. So when you are creating an object, it is asking different things, or you create an object. So once you open an object properties, there are several things are there. The first name, last name, full name, account name, mobile number, contact information, organization name, address. Okay, so like that. So these are all comes under attributes. Okay, of course there is a class is also there. Class is nothing but a template. what is a template? It is when you create an object, when you are creating an object, a box is appear, right? So that is nothing but a template. That is nothing but a template. But important is objects and attributes. So your schema defines how your objects and attributes are there, how to add a client to domain, how to create a user, how user should be login, what are the user parameters, means attributes should be there, what are the attributes we should ask. Okay, the check marks you have to take it. Okay, so these are all comes under schema. Define list of object type and attributes that all objects in the ADDS. Okay, sometimes it is referred as a blueprint of ADDS. Like that. So guys, understand schema. So next time when you go to your Active Directory where you're trying to create a users, look at new object. You're creating a user. Title is new object user. Okay, and what are the things you are adding? Those are all nothing but attributes. Okay, it's like a form is there na, the form we call it as a, the window is called as a class, but we are not using the words that what we are not using. So this is the schema. Forest, domain you already know, so, and forest again, in the forest only it is there, both what is forest and tree, and also tree is also there. Okay, so statements are correct only, but only depends upon our understanding, guys. Sites also I told, so we'll see the site. OU, but sites also we'll see. We will see. Okay. Mm, yeah, configuration partition, schema partition, global catalog. These things are there. Guys, look at here. This is my domain A. Okay. .com or whatever it is. This is my domain A. This is domain B. This is my domain C. Just for understanding, domain C. This is a child domain. This is child domain. Okay. The child domain, for example, child domain, how to put a child domain, like I put a pune dot domain p.com. Okay, so this is the child domain. This is again domain tree. The domain tree don't have a space, so I'll put a here. So otherwise remove it, no problem. If you want, we can add it that one. Okay, we have to do one more addition is we have to do it, but we'll see. Of course, biologically, everything is in the same network, like under what? Okay, so this is a domain, forest root level domain, tree, domain B, domain C. This is child domain. Okay, here it is in the partitions in a domain controllers. What are there? We'll see. Configuration partition, schema, and domain A, domain A information. So just I will put a different colors for only domain A. Okay. So domain A, domain partition contains domain A informations. schema configuration, and remaining is same. Here also same thing, configuration, schema, common, but it contains domain B, user information, computer information group, okay, service and resources information stores in this domain. Okay, so that is a little different from here to here. So this is in this domain controller configuration schema, this configuration schema is same, but the domain partition information is different from here to here. Same goes for here also. Like this. Same goes for this one also. For a child domain is also same thing. You have a configuration partition, schema partition, and domain. Pune, every domain has their own domain kind of stuff. Yeah, I have to change this into the black color. So that is wrong. So domain configuration, schema, and domain. In a domain partition, the specific partition is different. Okay, so every domain has their own domain, and under domain partition, guys, simply understand configuration schema is same for entire domains in the forest. So what are the data in the this configuration partition? What are the data in this in this that configuration? So why n is missing here? Okay. So what are the data in this configuration partition is same, and also the schema partition is also same in the all the domains. But what is the different? Domain partition. Domain partition is different from one domain to another domain. One domain to another domain. Okay, so one domain partition is different from another domain because I have some users groups computers in this domain, that information stored in domain A. Same goes for domain B, and same go for a domain C and this child domain also. Okay, so this is about your partitions. This is about your partitions, schema configuration, domain partition. Like this also you can write. Okay, so each domain having their own domain database. Next one is global catalog. Again, we'll see the what is global catalog. For example, this is a global catalog server. By default, our root domain is a global catalog server. So if you have any global catalog servers, that works like this. So in a domain controller configuration partition, schema, domain A information, and a partial attributes of objects in the different domains also stores here. Domain B, okay, domain C, domain Pune. So what happened here in the central domain means in a global catalog server, in a global catalog server. So this is a domain controller. So the domain controller is a global catalog server. Global catalog is physical component. So in the NTDS.DIT file, it divided into configuration schema, which is common for all domains in the forest, and it contains the domain A information and domain B, domain C, and other things. What is the advantage of this one? For example, a user want to log in. Okay, a user want to log in to other domains. How to log in? So user one at the rate domainb.com. For example, is trying to log in here in this computer like this. User one at the rate domainb.com. So domain C does not having a domain B information, right? So domain C don't have domain B information. Got it? So what it will do? It ask the global catalog. It go to request go. It check with the global catalog server. I want to know about domain B and their information. So it confirms that this is belongs to domain B. This is a domain B information, and this is domain B object information. User one is there, and finally you try to authenticate the user. So of course authentication by domain B only, but information SID is from domain global catalog server. So this is the global catalog server. Already statement is given what is global catalog server. It is nothing but a server which is partial read-only copy of all objects in the forest. Okay. So global catalog speed up the search for object that might be stored in a domain controller in the different domains in the forest. Okay. So what is the domain controller? So what is KDC, Key Distribution Center? Authentication also I will explain. This is global catalog. Post partial attribute set for other domains in the forest. Support query for objects throughout the forest. Okay. So that is also we can add a statement. Here you can see these are the two things. This is domain A, this is domain B. In a domain B, I have a two domain controllers, schema, configuration, and domain partitions. Domain B information is stored in this one and as well as in this one. This is domain A. Schema, configuration, domain A is there. But what is the additionally here it is? Domain B information is also available in the global catalog server. Okay. It is disconnected. Very good. Guys, can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just we missed. This is a domain A. This is domain B. This is domain A. This is domain B. So domain B having a two domain controllers. Domain A having a two domain controllers. But this specific domain controller is global catalog server. So each domain controller having schema, configuration, partition. Same for entire domain. So this schema, this schema, this schema, this schema is same. Configuration, 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 same data. But this is contains domain A, this is contains domain A, domain B, related information. Their domain B or domain A, users information, computer information. But in a global catalog, domain B, read only copy or a partial attributes are in this one. Can add this statement to there also. queries or object throughout the forest. Okay, so this is about your global catalog. Guys, understand global catalog. Login process I will tell separately because I have to take things. Login process, SIDs, yeah, sites I have to tell. Already I told, but operation master roles. So then this Active Directory main part will be completed. Login process I will tell separately. SIDs, of course, sites. VOU we already know. So VOU we already know. So I told VOU about VOU. Okay. Organizational unit. Here is VOU kind of stuff. It is will be there in a early. This is VOU. Okay. Okay. We already know. So that's why I just copy pasting things. VOUs is meaning is organizational unit. Okay. Organizational unit. Container AD provide a framework for delegating administrative rights and for linking group policy objects. We organize the users, groups, computers in the container. In the container. So that is called a mainly point of VOU. So VOU for organizing user group, computer and other objects into a container and for user to link the group policy objects and also will give delegating administrative rights to a certain groups or users. Okay, so this is also you can see to configure objects contains within the OU to delegation control of the objects. Okay, so this is a site. Site is very simple. Sites are used by a client. This need okay. It is showing a SRV records and all. This is better explanation than that one. Site is a collection of users, groups, computers that defined by their physical location. So where the user group computers information is there in the domain controllers. So in a physical location like a Hyderabad site, like that. So we have okay, Pune site, Bangalore site, or New Jersey site, Australia site, or Sydney site, London site, New York site. So what is these sites? So in that physical location, what are the servers are there or domain controllers are there? So we put it in a that site. So logically we create a name and we tell these are the servers in this location. So that is a site. What is the use of this one? It is used to replicate the data. Any data like some in the forest level. In the forest level, I change my schema partition. I changed my schema partition. That information will be replicated to all other domains and okay domain controllers. Domain means domain controller, additional domain controllers or ODCs of all domains in the forest. Global catalog to global catalog information. I change some configuration. So that configuration information is replicated to every domains in the forest. I add a user in the domain C. So domain C, domain controllers in a different locations. So they will synchronize what are the data added into that. Like for example, easy example I will tell. You have a mail account, but same account is given to your mobile phone, tablet, and your computer also. What happen if you add an account to a mobile, like you add a contact, a phone number in your mobile to store the mobile contact in the email. Okay, so what happen? The same ID is synchronized to your tablet, and also you can get it from the your computer. So look at here. Okay, screen is not visible. My mouse is giving me irritation. Screen was not visible. Oh, it is too much time. 1.5 hour must. Okay, guys. This is the last anyway. Now, can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So look at here. Configuration, schema, domain partitions. Okay. So in a forest level, configuration schema will be replicate. Think like that. I have a server in Hyderabad. I have a server in the Delhi. I have a server in New York. So three are in same belongs to same domain, but different physical location things, right? So I created a three sites. So if any of the site domain controller got some changes, like in a schema changes or configuration changes, or a user is added, or group is created, a user group membership is changed, a new computer is added. So that information should be replicated to different sites, different servers. So we can easily configure with the sites. So site to site replication, we can create it. Already I explained that one. So that's the statement I am trying to give. Okay. So collection of users, it's a domain controllers in the different physical locations. Very simple. Align with a part of network that have a good connectivity and bandwidth. Okay. So if branch office is connected to the main data center by unreliable wide area network link, it would be better to connect to define the data center and branch office separate sites in ADDS. Okay, so what's our it is? So if you have a very good link between two sites, so we can say replicate from there. Okay, rather than connected to always a main office. A lot of things are there. Sites and replication is a one of the part is there. Yeah, guys, these are the main important things about your Active Directories. Of course, three things I didn't done. So one is the login process. What is SID? What is SID? What is operation master roles? SID I will tell and I will stop here. So what is SID? SID won't come in this logical kind of stuff. Okay. It is a security identifier. Identify or identification or anything. SID is a security identifier. It is a security identifier. Remember, every object, every object in the domain, in user account, user group, OU, computer. So like that, every object, every object must have has every object has a SID. Every object in domain, we don't need to tell a domain here, but I tell a domain or a domain controller. So every object means user is an object, group is an object, computer is an object, OU is an object as a SID. Okay, the SID is look like this one. SID is look like this one. So example of SID. The first part we call it as a type of ID. First part we call it as a type of ID. Active Directory location or some information. The last one is RID, relative identifier. Okay, the first one is the type of ID. This part is AD Active Directory location. You can see it is first four blocks represented a type of ID. The next three blocks are number of data where account is stored. Okay, so where is the database? Active Directory database. RID is a relative identifier. Relative identifier. Relative identifier. Again, for example, guys, same computer, same server, but now not 500, it is now 1000. 500 is a very old 2012 time. Now it is a 1000. I created a account. SID is like this. Same account I created, 501. Same type of account I created, 503. Same type of account I created, 504. Sorry, 2 is there. I created a 4 accounts. But what is the only difference? RID is different. Account type of ID is the same. Database, Active Directory database storage location means your NTDS, which Active Directory it is like that, is also the same. Only difference is RID is different. Okay. So RID is different from one account to other. Okay. Different means like a increment type only. Increment. So this is the best example than this statement. Okay. So you creating a same account. I create a group next to another group, group one, group two, group three, group four. So RID will be like that. So remaining is same for all groups, but only RID of the group is different. Like user I created, user one, user two, user three, user four, user five. The type of ID, AD location, and are same. And in RID is increment will be there 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004 like that. Okay, so that's the point I want to say. Not a statement. Statement is meaning will be changes. Statements meaning will be changes, but so only two things are there: login process and FSMO roles. Okay, these things I will tell, but after this one, after break, I will start a DHCP. Okay, I will start DHCP. Guys are okay with this theory? You want more?
Yeah.